I stood in my parents' marble-floored foyer, watching my sister twirl her champagne glass with that familiar smirk I'd grown to hate. The crystal chandelier above us, the one I technically owned, cast dancing shadows across her perfect face. My name is Taylor, and I was about to watch my younger sister steal my ex-boyfriend again. "Taylor, darling, you could have at least worn the dress I sent you," my mother said, adjusting my blazer with disapproving fingers. "This is your father's 60th anniversary party, not a business meeting." I stepped away from her touch. "I'm comfortable like this, Mom." The house buzzed with the typical Richardson family gathering energy, fake laughs, clinking glasses, and the constant undercurrent of judgment. I'd helped set up earlier, arranging flowers in the grand entrance and positioning appetizer tables throughout the living room. Not because anyone asked me to, but because some part of me still craved their approval. "Oh my God, is that Connor?" My mother's eyes lit up as she spotted him entering through the front door. My stomach dropped. Connor, my ex. The man who disappeared from my life 3 years ago with nothing but a text message and a box of my things left on my doorstep. He looked exactly the same. Tall, perfectly styled dark hair, that disarming smile that had once made my knees weak. "Mrs. Richardson!" He embraced my mother like he'd never broken her daughter's heart. "The house looks amazing." "Doesn't it? We just had the floors redone." She beamed, conveniently forgetting who had paid for those floors. I turned to escape to the kitchen, but Ella's voice rang out above the party chatter. "Everyone, could I have your attention, please?" The room fell silent. Ella stood on the bottom step of the grand staircase, radiant in her red designer dress. Connor moved to stand beside her, and my blood ran cold. "First, I want to thank everyone for coming to celebrate Mom and Dad's anniversary," Ella started, her voice dripping with rehearsed sweetness. "But Connor and I have an announcement of our own to make." "No, no, no." "We're engaged!" The room erupted in cheers and congratulations. My father rushed forward to shake Connor's hand. My mother burst into tears of joy. I stood frozen, gripping my champagne glass so tight I thought it might shatter. "Isn't it wonderful?" My mother grabbed my arm. "Your sister, getting married, and to Connor of all people. We always loved him, you know." "Yeah," I managed. "Wonderful." Ella floated through the crowd, showing off her enormous diamond ring. When she reached me, her smile turned razor sharp. "What do you think, big sister? He picked it out himself. Bigger than the one he was going to give you, isn't it?" I met her eyes. "How long?" "How long what?" "How long were you seeing him before we broke up?" She laughed, high and false. "Oh, Taylor, always so paranoid. Connor and I only got together 6 months after you two ended things." She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Looks like I win again, just like always." I watched her glide away, back to our beaming parents and her doting fiancé. My chest felt tight, but not from heartbreak. No, this was different. This was rage, cold and clarifying. "Taylor?" It was Desiree, my best friend, touching my arm gently. "You okay?" "I need some air." I walked out to my car, my heels clicking against the driveway my money had repaved. The night air was cool against my burning cheeks. I popped the trunk and reached for the sealed manila envelope I'd been carrying around for months, just waiting for the right moment. Inside was the property deed to 47 Maple Avenue, this very house. The house my parents had nearly lost during the financial crisis. The house I'd secretly bought to save them from foreclosure. The house where my sister just announced she'd be having her dream wedding. I ran my fingers over the embossed legal seal, remembering how my family had never bothered to read the fine print, how they'd assumed Dad's name was on the deed, how they'd forgotten all about my loan once their social status was secure again. My phone buzzed, a text from Moises, my lawyer. "Ready when you are," I smiled, tucking the envelope under my arm. Ella wanted to have her perfect wedding in my house? Fine. But first, she'd learn what it felt like to lose something she thought was hers. "Game on, little sister," I whispered, walking back toward the party. Game on. You should have seen their faces when Ella announced the engagement, I said, pacing across Moises's office. Like they'd completely forgotten Connor was ever with me. Moises looked up from the stack of legal documents on his mahogany desk. Are you sure you want to do this, Taylor? There's no going back once we serve these notices. I stopped at the window, watching traffic crawl by 15 stories below. The memory of that day in 2008 flooded back, my father's crumpled face as he admitted they were 3 months behind on mortgage payments, my mother's mascara-stained cheeks, Ella's theatrical sobs about having to leave her childhood home. Do you remember what they said when I offered to help? I asked. Refresh my memory. My mother said, "Oh, sweetie, this is grown-up business." I was 23, had just closed my first major real estate deal, and they still treated me like a child. I turned back to face him. Then I bought their house outright, and they never even read the paperwork, because they assumed your father's name would be on the deed, Moises finished, nodding. He'd been there after all. Had watched me sign the papers making me the sole owner of 47 Maple Avenue. My phone buzzed, a text from Desiree. Girl, Ella's already posting wedding venue pics of your house. Show me, I said when I called her back, putting her on speaker. Instagram, she's calling it the Richardson Family Estate and talking about her perfect garden wedding next spring. Moises raised an eyebrow as I pulled up the posts. There was Ella, posing in front of my rose garden, Connor's arm around her waist. The caption read, "Where it all began, can't wait to say, I do, at my family home." The audacity, I muttered. Taylor. Desiree's voice was gentle through the speaker. Are you doing this for justice or revenge? I stared at the photo. Does it matter? It matters to you. I know you. Moises slid a document across his desk. Speaking of the wedding, they've already filed for event permits, listed your father as the property owner. Of course they did. I picked up the paper, scanning the details. They're planning for 300 guests, in my house, without asking me. That's fraud, Moises said simply. Can we use that? He nodded. Already drafted a cease and desist, but Taylor, there's something else you should see. He pulled up an email on his computer. Connor's been making inquiries about property rights, specifically about challenging old deed transfers. My stomach clenched. You think he knows? I think he's suspicious. The timing's interesting. Right after getting engaged to Ella, he starts digging into property law. My phone buzzed again. My mother this time. I let it go to voicemail. Play it, Desiree said, still on speaker. I want to hear this. I hit play. Taylor, darling, we're meeting with the wedding planner tomorrow at the house. I know you're busy with your little real estate thing, but do try to make it. Ella wants to discuss the renovation plans for the kitchen. The countertops simply won't do for the reception. I ended the message. My little real estate thing. That's rich, coming from someone living in a house I bought. Taylor! Desiree's voice was firm. Promise me something. What? Promise you won't let this consume you. I've watched you spend years trying to prove yourself to them. Maybe it's time to just let go. I picked up the trespassing notices Moises had prepared. I am letting go. Of them. Of their control. Of every backhanded compliment and dismissive comment. By throwing them out of their home? My home, I corrected. And yes, sometimes karma needs a little push. Moises cleared his throat. There's one more thing. He handed me another document. Connor and Ella have already put down deposits with vendors, using your address as collateral. I felt a cold smile spread across my face. Perfect. Let them spend their money. Let them plan their dream wedding. Let them think they have control. And then? Desiree asked. And then I show them what it feels like to lose everything they thought was theirs. I gathered the papers into my briefcase, just like they did to me. Moises stood, straightening his tie. I'll have everything ready by Friday. Just say the word. As I walked to my car, another text came through, from Ella. Meeting wedding planner tomorrow at 2. Don't be late this time, and wear something nice for once. I typed back, wouldn't miss it for the world. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. Sometimes it's served with a smile and a property deed. I arrived at the house early, before the wedding planner. Ella was already there, arranging flower samples on my dining room table like she owned the place. "You're late," she said without looking up. "Actually, I'm early." I set my coffee down. "We need to talk." "About what? Your outfit? Because honestly, Taylor, would it kill you to wear a dress once in... About Connor." That got her attention. She straightened, crossing her arms. "There's nothing to talk about. He chose me." "Did he choose you, or did you choose him?" "Oh my God," she rolled her eyes. "Are you still bitter about that? It was 3 years ago." I pulled out a chair and sat down. "Remember my high school graduation, when you took credit for my valedictorian speech? What does that have to do with anything? Or that time you stole my prom dress and told Mom I was the one who ruined yours?" Ella's perfectly manicured fingers drummed against the table. "Ancient history." "Is it? Because it seems like you're still playing the same games." I leaned forward. "Tell me something. Did you know about the house?" A flicker of confusion crossed her face. "What about it?" "Who owns it?" She waved dismissively. "Dad, obviously. Why are you being weird?" The doorbell rang before I could respond. My mother burst in, followed by an elegant woman carrying a tablet. "Taylor! You actually came!" Mom's surprise was barely concealed. "And look, you're not wearing black for once." The wedding planner introduced herself as Marina and immediately began spreading magazines across my table. "Now, I've been thinking about the layout, the ceremony in the garden, cocktail hour on the terrace, and the reception flowing through the main floor. We'll need to update those awful kitchen counters," my mother interjected, "and that chandelier in the foyer. It's not quite right for photos." "The chandelier stays," I said quietly. "Don't be difficult, Taylor," Ella sighed. "This is my wedding. In my house." 3 heads turned to stare at me. "What did you say?" my mother asked. But before I could respond, the front door opened again. My godmother Esther walked in, her timing impeccable as always. "Hope I'm not interrupting," she said, taking in the scene. "Taylor, could I borrow you for a moment?" In the kitchen, Esther poured herself a glass of water. "I saw the legal notices on Moises's desk yesterday." "Are you here to talk me out of it?" She shook her head. "I'm here to remind you that karma works both ways, sweetheart. Make sure your actions come from justice, not hatred." From the dining room, I could hear Ella's voice rising. "And we'll need to clear out that ugly office upstairs for the bridal suite." "My office," I muttered. Esther touched my arm. "You were always the strong one, you know, even as a little girl. When Ella would break her toys, you'd give her yours just to keep the peace." "Not anymore." "No," she agreed, "not anymore." We returned to find my mother and Ella deep in renovation plans. Marina was sketching something on her tablet. "Oh, good," my mother said. "Taylor, we need you to clear out your things from the upstairs office by next week. The contractors are coming to—" "No." "Excuse me?" I said no. I pulled out my phone and clicked on a photo of the property deed. No contractors, no renovations, no wedding. Ella snatched the phone. Her face went pale. "This has to be fake." "Check the county records," I said. "I've owned this house since 2008, when Dad was about to lose it to the bank, remember? When you all said I couldn't possibly understand grown-up business?" My mother's hand flew to her throat. But Arthur said, "Dad never read the paperwork. None of you did. You just assumed." Marina cleared her throat awkwardly. "Perhaps I should come back another time." "No need," I said. "There won't be a wedding here." Ella's face twisted into something ugly. "You can't do this to me. Like you couldn't date Connor? Like you couldn't steal my work, my clothes, my achievements all these years? You're just jealous," she spat, because I'm getting everything you wanted. I laughed, and the sound surprised even me. No, Ella, I'm getting everything I wanted, starting with my house back. Taylor, my mother pleaded, be reasonable. This is your sister's special day. From the doorway, Esther spoke up. I believe Taylor is being perfectly reasonable. It's her house, after all. As if on cue, my phone buzzed. A text from Moises. Your father's in the records office right now, looking up the deed. I smiled. You might want to cancel those contractors, Mom. And Ella, you might want to find a new venue. I hear the country club has openings next spring. The look of dawning horror on their faces was better than any revenge I could have planned. The engagement party invitations arrived in my mailbox 3 days later. Thick cream cardstock with gold foil lettering, featuring a photo of my house as the backdrop. I had to admire their nerve. They're still going ahead with it, I told Desiree over lunch. Like I never said anything. Classic denial, she said, stabbing at her salad. Your mom called me this morning, by the way, wanted me to talk some sense into you. My phone lit up with a text from Moises. Trespass notices ready. Want me to serve them? Not yet, I typed back. Let them dig the hole deeper. I drove to the house that afternoon, knowing my parents would be at their country club lunch, but as I pulled into the driveway, I spotted an unfamiliar car. Through the front windows, I could see people moving around inside. Using my key, I walked in to find a woman with a clipboard directing 2 assistants who were measuring my living room windows. Excuse me, I said. What's going on here? Oh? The woman brightened. You must be Taylor. I'm Rebecca, the wedding coordinator. Your sister mentioned you might stop by. We're just getting measurements for the draping. I crossed my arms. Did my sister mention she doesn't own this house? Rebecca's smile faltered. I'm working directly with your parents. They signed all the contracts. Did they? I pulled out my phone and dialed Moises. Hey, can you email me those trespass notice templates? I have someone here who needs one. Rebecca's face went white. She quickly gathered her things, ushering her assistants out while mumbling apologies. After they left, I walked upstairs to check my office. The door was slightly ajar. I always kept it locked. Inside, the filing cabinet drawer was open, papers disturbed. Looking for something, Dad? My father jumped, turning from the cabinet with a guilty start. Taylor, I was just going through my private files. I walked over and shut the drawer. Looking for the deed, perhaps? He straightened his shoulders, trying to regain authority. This is my house. I have every right. No, I cut him off. It's not your house. Hasn't been since 2008. Remember that day, Dad, when you sat at our kitchen table crying because you'd lost everything? I paid you back. No, you didn't. You gave me a fraction of what I spent and then pretended the whole thing never happened, just like you always do when I help this family. He sank into my office chair, suddenly looking old. Why didn't you tell us? Would it have mattered? Would you have treated me any differently? I gestured around the room. You all just took and took, never once thinking about who was giving. We're your family. Family? I laughed. Family doesn't let their daughter pay their mortgage and then pretend it never happened. Family doesn't watch their youngest steal from their oldest and call it healthy competition. Family doesn't... My phone buzzed. A text from Ella. Where are you? The wedding planner just called in tears. What did you do? Your sister loves this house, my father said quietly. No, she loves winning. There's a difference. Another buzz. This time from Connor. Can we talk? Privately? I showed my father the phone. Interesting timing, don't you think? Connor wanting to talk right after you're caught searching for property documents? He had the grace to look ashamed. He might have mentioned something about legal options. Of course he did. I walked to the door. I want you out of my office. In fact, I want you out of my house. Now. Taylor, please. Now, Dad, before I call the police and report you for breaking and entering." He stood slowly, straightening his golf shirt. At the door, he paused. "We never meant to hurt you." "No," I said. "You just never thought about me at all." After he left, I sat at my desk and pulled out the trespass notices Moises had prepared. The stack felt heavy in my hands, 5 copies, 1 for each family member. My phone buzzed again. "Connor. Please, I need to explain something." I thought about ignoring it, but curiosity won out. "Fine. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., my office downtown." His response came quickly. "Thank you. There's something you need to know about Ella." I stared at the message, then at the trespass notices. Whatever game they were playing, whatever schemes they were plotting, they'd forgotten one crucial thing. I wasn't that silent, accommodating daughter anymore. I was the owner of the house they were standing in, and it was time they remembered that. I reserved a private room at La Maison for dinner, knowing my family couldn't resist the allure of the city's most exclusive restaurant. The maître d' led them in, one by one. First my parents, then Ella, and finally Connor, all looking wary but intrigued. "Taylor," my mother said, settling into her chair, "this is unexpected." "Is it?" I smiled, pouring wine for everyone. "I thought we should celebrate properly. The engagement, the wedding plans, everything." Ella's eyes narrowed. "What are you up to?" "Can't I treat my family to dinner?" "You've never wanted to before," she muttered. The waiter appeared, distributing menus. My father cleared his throat. "Taylor, about yesterday." "Let's not discuss unpleasant things," I interrupted smoothly. "Tell me more about the wedding plans. Mom, you were saying something about renovating my kitchen?" My mother's face brightened. "Oh, yes, I found the most wonderful contractor. He can replace those dated countertops with marble, and—" "How grateful are you?" I asked suddenly. "What?" "For the house, for me saving it when Dad lost everything. How grateful are you?" An uncomfortable silence fell over the table. Connor studied his wineglass intently. "That was years ago," my father said finally. "We paid you back." "Did you? How much did you pay me, Dad?" He shifted in his seat. 50,000. "And how much was the house worth?" More silence. 1.2 million, I said. "That's how much I paid to save your precious family home, the home you're now planning to renovate for Ella's wedding, without asking me." "Taylor," Ella started, but I held up my hand. "No, let me finish. You all seem to have forgotten something important." I reached into my bag and pulled out the deed, placing it on the table. "This house, it's mine, legally, completely, and I'm done watching you treat me, like an afterthought." My mother's face crumpled. "You're being cruel." "Cruel?" I laughed. "Cruel is watching your sister date your ex-boyfriend and saying nothing. Cruel is letting your parents dismiss your success while living in the house you bought them." "I knew it," Ella spat. "This is about Connor." "No," I said quietly. "This is about all of it. Every time you stole my moment. Every time Mom and Dad looked the other way. Every time I swallowed my pride and helped anyway." I pulled out the trespass notices next. 5 copies, formally printed on legal letterhead. "What are those?" my father asked, though his face suggested he already knew. "Exactly what they look like. You have 30 days to vacate my property." "You can't do this!" Ella shrieked, drawing looks from nearby diners. "I can. I am." Connor spoke for the first time. "Taylor, please, can we talk about this privately?" "Why? So you can try to manipulate me again? That's what this is all about, isn't it? You figured out I owned the house, so you and Ella cooked up this engagement to—" "I never stopped loving you," he blurted out. The table fell silent. Ella's face went from red to white. "What did you say?" she whispered. Connor looked miserable. I made a mistake. Taylor, I've been trying to tell you—" "Shut up," Ella hissed. "Just shut up." "Is that why you were asking about property laws?" I asked him. Planning to win me back and get the house in the divorce? My mother stood abruptly. This is ridiculous. Taylor, you're tearing this family apart. No, Mom, you did that years ago. I'm just finally doing something about it. Ella threw her napkin down. You want the truth? Fine. I knew about the house. I found the paperwork months ago. And yes, I got engaged to Connor to spite you. Because you always have to be so perfect, so successful, so above it all. Ella, my father warned, but she was on a roll. You think you're better than us with your real estate empire and your perfect life? At least I know how to make people love me. I stood slowly, gathering my things. You have 30 days. After that, I'm changing the locks. Taylor, please. My mother grabbed my arm. You can't do this to us. We're family. I gently removed her hand. No, we're not. We're just people who share DNA and a lot of bad memories. As I walked away, I heard Ella's voice rise hysterically. Connor, tell them you love me. Tell them. But I didn't stay to hear his response. I'd finally said my piece, served my notices, and now it was time to let the cards fall where they may. Outside, the night air felt clean and cool. My phone buzzed with a text from Esther. How did it go? It's done, I replied. All of it. And for the first time in years, I felt light, free, like I could finally breathe. Connor was waiting outside my office the next morning, looking like he hadn't slept. You've got 5 minutes, I said, unlocking the door. I never wanted to marry Ella, he blurted out, following me inside. It was her idea. She said if I didn't propose, she'd tell everyone about the embezzlement. I froze. What embezzlement? He ran his hands through his disheveled hair. At my old firm, I made some mistakes. Ella found out somehow. She said she'd keep quiet if I played along. So you let her blackmail you into an engagement? I thought I could figure something out. Then I discovered you owned the house, and I thought maybe you could trade up? I finished coldly. Dump the blackmailing sister for the one with the property deed? Before he could respond, my office door burst open. Ella stormed in, mascara streaked down her face. You bastard, she screamed at Connor. I just got your text. You're calling off the engagement? Ella, Save it, she turned to me. This is what you wanted, isn't it? To ruin everything? I didn't make Connor send that text. No, you just had to own everything else. The house, Dad's respect, Mom's secret pride. Oh, you didn't know about that, did you? How she brags about her successful daughter to her friends when you're not around? I blinked, thrown off guard. What? God, you're so blind, Ella laughed hysterically. You think I wanted Connor? I wanted what you had. The independence, the power, the way people respect you instead of just calling you pretty. So you tried to steal my ex-boyfriend? I tried to steal your life, but it never works. Nothing I do ever measures up to perfect Taylor. Connor tried to edge toward the door, but Ella blocked his path. And you couldn't even pretend to love me properly. Always looking at her, always comparing me to her. Ella, I said quietly, why didn't you just talk to me? Talk to you? She whirled around. Like you talked to us about owning the house? Like you talked to me when I was struggling after college? You just disappeared into your perfect career, leaving me in your shadow. I disappeared because you made my life hell. Every achievement, every milestone, you found a way to steal it or ruin it. Because it was the only way to get their attention. We stared at each other, both breathing hard. Years of unspoken resentment hung in the air between us. My phone rang. Moises. Taylor, your father's here at my office. He's threatening to sue for fraudulent property transfer. Put him on speaker, I said. Dad's voice filled the room. Taylor, if you don't stop this madness right now, You'll what, Dad? I interrupted. Tell everyone how your daughter tricked you, how you were too proud to read the paperwork when I saved your house, how you let Mom and Ella treat me like garbage while living under my roof. Silence. Or maybe, I continued, you'll tell them about the second mortgage you took out in 2007. The one Mom doesn't know about. The real reason you almost lost everything. I heard him inhale sharply. Ella's eyes widened. How did you? I'm in real estate, Dad. I do my research. Now, would you like to rethink that lawsuit? The line went dead. Connor cleared his throat. I should go. Yes, Ella and I said simultaneously. After he left, my sister slumped into a chair. I really am pathetic, aren't I? Using blackmail to get a guy who doesn't even want me. No, I said, surprising myself. You're just lost, like I was, before I stopped trying to win their approval. She looked up at me, makeup smeared, but eyes clear for the first time in years. I don't know how to be anything else except your rival. Then maybe it's time we both tried something new. Like what? Like being honest, starting with Mom and Dad. Ella laughed bitterly. They'll never change. Probably not, but we can. My phone buzzed again, a text from Desiree. Your mom just called me crying, said she's having chest pains. I showed Ella the message. She rolled her eyes. Her favorite manipulation tactic. Whenever she's losing control, she suddenly develops health issues. Want to go call her bluff? Together? I nodded. Together, but first. I pulled out a business card and wrote a number on the back. This is my therapist. You might want to give her a call. Ella took the card, staring at it like it might bite her. Why are you being nice to me? Because sometimes the best revenge is breaking the cycle. She stood, straightening her clothes. I still hate that you own the house. I know, but at least now you're honest about it. The local news headline read, Prominent Family's Wedding Drama Exposes Real Estate Secret. Someone had leaked the story, probably Connor, trying to save face after the engagement imploded. I found my parents waiting on the front steps of my house when I pulled into the driveway that evening. Mom was dabbing at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief while Dad paced back and forth. Come to check on your fake chest pains? I asked, unlocking the door. How dare you? Mom burst out. After everything we've done for you, everything you've done for me? I stepped inside, leaving the door open. Please, enlighten me. We gave you a home. No, I gave you a home, and now I want it back. Dad stopped pacing. The media is having a field day with this. My golf club friends are asking questions. Your mother can't show her face at the charity board meetings. Sounds like a personal problem. Taylor, Mom's voice turned pleading, we can work something out. Put the house in all our names. Make it a family trust. Like you made my childhood a trust? Always withdrawing love when I didn't meet your standards? That's not fair. No, what's not fair is watching Ella take credit for my achievements. What's not fair is saving this house only to be treated like a tenant in it. A car door slammed outside. Ella walked in, followed by Esther. The reporters are camped out at my apartment, Ella announced. Thanks for that, Mom. Me? What did I do? Oh, please. Ella rolled her eyes. I saw you talking to that reporter at the country club, playing the victim, as usual. Mom's face reddened. I was simply telling the truth about your sister's betrayal. The truth? I laughed. You wouldn't know the truth if it served you an eviction notice, which, by the way, I did. 23 days left, Ella added helpfully. Dad turned to her. You're taking her side now? I'm not taking sides. I'm just done lying. She pulled out her phone. Want to see the texts where you told Connor to handle Taylor? Or should I show Mom the bank statements from that second mortgage instead? The color drained from his face. Esther stepped forward. Arthur, Aaron, I think it's time you both left. This is our home, Mom wailed. No, I said firmly. It's not. Not anymore. You're making a mistake, Dad warned. Families don't do this to each other. You're right. Families don't. But we stopped being a real family long ago. I'll never forgive you for this, Mom declared, grabbing her purse. I know, but I forgive myself. That's what matters. After they left, Ella wandered into the living room, touching the familiar furniture. "What will you do with the house?" "Sell it, probably. Too many ghosts." "Can I—" She hesitated. "Can I help? With the staging and everything? I did get my real estate license last year." I stared at her. "You never told me that." "Because I didn't want you to think I was copying you." "Again." Esther smiled. "Maybe it's time you two tried working together instead of against each other." My phone buzzed. A text from Connor. "I'm sorry about the media leak. Your father threatened to expose my embezzlement if I didn't try to help them keep the house." I showed it to Ella. She snorted. "Wow, Dad's really going for broke, isn't he?" "Speaking of broke," I said, "where are they going to live?" "Mom's sister has a guest house in Palm Springs. She already called them." Esther touched my arm. "Are you sure about selling?" I looked around the room at the family photos on the walls, carefully curated moments of fake happiness. Yes, this house was never really a home. It was a prison we built ourselves. "We could stage it together," Ella suggested. "Make it look nothing like it does now. Turn it into something new." I studied my sister's face, seeing something I'd never noticed before. Hope. Not manipulation, not competition, just simple hope. "Okay," I said, "but on one condition." "What?" "We both go to therapy, separately and together. If we're going to try being real sisters, we need to deal with all of this." She nodded slowly. "Deal, but I get to choose the new paint colors." "Don't push it." Esther laughed. "Baby steps, girls, baby steps." Outside, a camera flash went off, another reporter trying to get the scoop. But for once, I didn't care about the exposure. Let them write their stories. Let them pick sides. The truth was messier and more complicated than any headline could capture. "Want to help me take down these photos?" I asked Ella. She grabbed a chair to reach the highest frames. "Only if you help me find a new apartment after, one that's paparazzi-proof." "Deal." Sometimes I realized revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about destroying the patterns that made you enemies in the first place. The real estate listing went live on a Tuesday morning. By afternoon, my phone was flooded with showing requests. I stood in the freshly staged living room, now painted in cool grays and whites, barely recognizing the space where I'd grown up. "First open house tomorrow," Ella said, adjusting a throw pillow. "Want to do it together? You sure you can handle Mom showing up? You know she will." "Already planned for it. Hired security." I raised an eyebrow. "Look who's getting strategic." "Learned from the best." She handed me a coffee. "Therapy's helping." The doorbell rang. Through the window, I spotted Moises walking up with a folder. "Final paperwork," he announced, spreading documents across the kitchen island. "Once you sign, the house goes on the market officially." I picked up the pen, then paused. "Did you ever think we'd end up here? Working together instead of plotting revenge?" Ella smiled. "Never, but I like it better." "Speaking of revenge," Moises said, "your father's lawsuit attempt was dismissed this morning. Turns out the judge didn't appreciate his history of financial manipulation." My phone buzzed. A text from Connor. "Moving to Seattle next week. Sorry for everything. You both deserved better." "Delete," Ella and I said simultaneously, then laughed. The sound of tires on gravel made us look up. Our parents' car pulled into the driveway. "Right on schedule," Ella muttered. Mom burst through the door first, then stopped short at the sight of the transformed space. What have you done?" "Our job," I said. "The house goes on the market tomorrow." Dad followed her in, looking older than ever. "Taylor, please. This home has been in our family for—" "Save it," Ella cut in. "We're not doing this again." "We?" Mom's eyes narrowed. "So you've turned against us too?" "No, Mom. I've turned toward the truth. Finally." Desiree appeared in the doorway behind them. Security called, said you might need backup. "We're fine," I assured her. "Our parents were just leaving." "This isn't over," Dad warned. "Actually, it is." I signed the listing agreement with a flourish. "The house will sell, you'll stay with Aunt Margaret, and we'll all move on with our lives." "And what about family?" Mom demanded. "Family?" Ella laughed. "You mean the performance we put on for the neighbors? The roles you assigned us? I was the pretty one. Taylor was the disappointment. And you were the perfect parents?" "We gave you everything." "No," I said quietly. "You gave us trauma disguised as love, but we're choosing something different now." "Together," Ella added. Mom's face crumpled. For a moment, I saw something real crack through her perfect mask. Grief, maybe, or recognition. "I don't know how to be different," she whispered. "That's not our problem anymore," I told her gently. "But there's a great therapist on 5th Street if you're interested." Dad put his arm around her. "Come on, Erin, let's go." After they left, Desiree whistled low. Well, that was almost civil. "Almost," Ella agreed. "Think they'll ever change?" "Doesn't matter," I said, gathering the signed papers. We did. My phone lit up with another showing request. This time it was from a young family with 3 kids. The message mentioned looking for a fresh start. "Perfect buyers," Ella said, reading over my shoulder. "This place needs new memories." Speaking of which, I pulled out a small box from my bag. Found these while packing. Inside were photos, real ones, not the staged portraits on the walls. Ella and me building sandcastles, playing in the sprinklers, moments before the competition and resentment took over. "We could have been good sisters all along," Ella said softly. "We can be now." Moises cleared his throat. "Need anything else before I file these?" I looked around the room one last time. The house that had held so many secrets, so much pain, so many false versions of ourselves. It felt lighter now. Ready for someone else's story? "No," I said. "We're good." Ella linked her arm through mine. "Want to grab lunch? I found this new place downtown. They have terrible food, but excellent gossip potential." "Sounds perfect." As we walked out, I didn't look back at the house. I didn't need to. The weight of it, of everything it represented, was finally lifting. Not because I'd won, but because I'd chosen to stop playing the game. "Hey, Taylor," Ella said as we reached our cars. "Yeah?" "Thanks for not giving up on me." I smiled. "Thanks for finally showing up." Sometimes the best endings aren't about winning or losing. They're about finding the courage to write a new story all together,